the final countdown has begun for the Narendra Modi government's 13th budget, and all eyes are on how the pushes and pulls of coalition dharma manifest in a coalition budget by what is now being pitched as NDA 3.0 rather than just the Modi Sarkar.
This was Prime Minister Narendra Modi meeting some of the brightest economic minds of the country last week. The entire Niti Aayog team was present, and so was Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Besides discussions on the economic and social issues to be addressed by the union budget, high on the agenda were also the new political realities of the current government being part of a coalition. Two of the largest alliance partners of the BJP in the current NDA government have already put forward their large financial demands from the centre. The Chandrababu Naidu-led TDP government in Andhra Pradesh has reportedly sought financial assistance for multiple projects that may cost nearly 1.5 lakh crore rupees. Nitish Kumar has asked for a special status for Bihar as well as compensation for floods and various infra projects. Despite these political pressures, the budget, as President Draupadi Murmu indicated, will be futuristic and packed with reforms.
ये बजट सरकार की दूरगामी नीतियों और फ्यूचरिस्टिक विजन का एक प्रभावी दस्तावेज होगा। इस बजट में बड़े आर्थिक और सामाजिक निर्णयों के साथ ही अनेक ऐतिहासिक कदम भी देखने को मिलेंगे। भारत के तेज विकास की जन आकांक्षाओं का पूरा करने के लिए रिफॉर्म्स की गति अब और तेज की जाएगी।
The union budget is likely to focus on creating jobs. This will involve heavy investments in infrastructure and various incentives for the manufacturing and MSME sectors. Reports say that production link incentive PLI scheme could be expanded to other areas as well. The middle class could get more money in their hands with several income tax SOPs. The government could also increase the benefits for farmers and women via direct transfers. Several announcements to strengthen the healthcare sector are expected as well. Prime Minister Modi, in his address at the India Today Conclave in March this year, had laid out his vision for a Viksit Bharat.
आने वाले 5 वर्ष भारत को दुनिया की तीसरी बड़ी आर्थिक ताकत बनाने वाले होंगे। आने वाले 5 साल इस अनसर्टेन वर्ल्ड के लिए एक स्थिर, समर्थ और सशक्त भारत की गारंटी के होंगे।
While formulating the budget, the government may also keep an eye on the upcoming elections in Maharashtra, Haryana, Jharkhand later this year and in Bihar and Delhi next year. But what goes in the government's favour are the ballooning tax receipts, both from direct taxes and GST, as well as record dividend from RBI, which will help keep the fiscal deficit in check. Bureau Report, Business Today Television.
We just heard a small chunk of what Prime Minister Narendra Modi had said about his economic vision at the India Today Conclave earlier this March. Here is the longer version of what he had said.
मैं दावे के साथ कह सकता हूं कि आने वाले 5 वर्ष भारत को दुनिया की तीसरी बड़ी आर्थिक ताकत बनाने वाले होंगे। आने वाले 5 साल इस अनसर्टेन वर्ल्ड के लिए एक स्थिर, समर्थ और सशक्त भारत की गारंटी के होंगे। आने वाले 5 साल भारत के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को एक नई ऊंचाई देने वाले होंगे। आने वाले 5 साल भारतीय रेल के कायाकल्प के होंगे। आने वाले 5 साल बुलेट ट्रेन से लेकर वंदे भारत ट्रेन के विस्तार के होंगे। आने वाले 5 साल वाटरवे के अभूतपूर्व इस्तेमाल के होंगे। आने वाले 5 साल में आप भारत के डिफेंस एक्सपोर्ट को नया रिकॉर्ड बनाते देंगे। आने वाले 5 साल में आप भारत के स्पेस सेक्टर की एक नई उड़ान देखेंगे, गगनयान की सफलता देखेंगे। आने वाले 5 साल में आप देश के युवाओं के लिए नए सेक्टर्स का उदय देखेंगे। आने वाले 5 साल में आप भारत की सोलर पावर को घर घर तक पहुंचता देखेंगे। आने वाले 5 साल में आप भारत में ईवी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में रिकॉर्ड वृद्धि देखेंगे। आने वाले 5 साल में आप सेमीकंडक्टर मिशन, हाइड्रोजन मिशन को जमीन पर बढ़ावा देखेंगे। और आने वाले 5 साल में आप निर्णायक नीतियां बनते, निर्णायक फैसले होते हुए भी देखेंगे।
Over the next few days, we will bring you a 360-degree view of Modinomics 3.0. This budget is special in some ways. This is the first time in the last 10 years that the BJP is leading a government without a majority on its own in the Lok Sabha. NDA allies like the TDP and the JDU have their own list of demands. How will that weigh on the budget? Joining me to debate that, A.K. Bhattacharya, Editorial Director at the Business Standard, Guru Prakash, National Spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and Professor Jyotsna Tirunagari, the National Spokesperson of the TDP. Warm welcome to all of you. Let me come to you, AKB, and ask you that question which has been there in the run-up to the budget, and this is the demands that the TDP and the JDU have had, not just now, but for many years now, and those total up into a very significant sum of money were it to be allocated in 1 year. What's your own sense? How much of coalition dharma is likely to impact the first budget of Modi 3.0?
Thanks, Siddharth, for having me here. Let me say at the outset that the coalition politics that you talked about will definitely have its imprint on the budget philosophy that is being executed, will be executed next week. There is no doubt about it. But let us understand also these coalition partners' economic philosophy, which are not very different from the kind of philosophy that the Modi government has been following. So I think apart from some allocation to be made to the Andhra Pradesh government, or special dispensation to be given to Bihar, or special welfare schemes keeping Bihar and Andhra Pradesh in mind, maybe addressing Andhra Pradesh demand for some sort of a refinery to be set up, or even transfer of BPCL, a partial ownership, to Andhra Pradesh. You know, these are some of the things that will definitely will see reflected in the coming budget. But on the whole, taking into account these allocations for Andhra Pradesh and Bihar, I would say that the budget that we will see next week will largely follow the template of the Finance Minister, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman, which briefly is fiscal prudence, fiscal rectitude. Actually, as a matter of fact, she might even present a fiscal deficit number which is slightly lower than what she presented in her interim budget. In the interim budget, she presented 5.1. You should not be surprised if she comes up and says that my new budget target is 5%. Now that will be greeted by the markets. That will be a signal of fiscal prudence. That will mean that the government is serious in tackling its debt management going forward. That's number one. Number two, the second part of template is CapEx. I think the government has so far has given a big push to government's capital expenditure program. The interim budget had talked about 16-17% increase, and I have a feeling that the final budget to be presented, it will see a bigger increase of, say, at around 20%. Remember that Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman, while preparing this budget, she has been benefited by a bonanza of sorts, which amounts to almost 0.4% of GDP. This is the huge amount in an economy whose size is 300 lakh crore. So that money will come additionally to the center, which will help her address the concerns of fiscal consolidation, as well as improve CapEx, because the private sector is not spending money. In addition, address those demands of the coalition state partners, as well as increase PM Kisan, provide more money for Mahatma Gandhi Narendra, allocate more for housing schemes, and of course, provide greater health insurance. So I think this is a budget that will reflect both the coalition concerns as also the concerns of fiscal prudence and capex push.
Let me come to the TDP spokesperson. Professor Jyotsna, what exactly is the TDP seeking, and do you want it all to happen now, or are you okay to be part of the broader policy that we have seen Modinomics follow over the last decade?
First of all, I would like to say that we all have to remember that we are a part of the NDA government. So anything that our Prime Minister says is definitely a word that has come from all of us that we have to understand. And yes, it's even before coming into this alliance, it was made very clear by our party chief and now the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Sri Chandrababu Naidu garu, very categorically and very clearly said that we have a longer vision for the state of Andhra Pradesh. We are concerned about the development of the state of Andhra Pradesh. Our vision is for the development of the state of Andhra Pradesh along with the development of the country, because when we say, we always talk about national aspirations as well as regional aspirations. So as if I have to put it in correct words, how much ever it is important for us when it comes to the state prerogatives and state development, you have to also understand that the central development and the nation's development is also on cards for us. We are working on that as well. And here, yes, when you ask me the question like you want everything now or you have a broader vision for that, we are here for the development of the state of Andhra Pradesh. Yes, we are going step by step. The last week, I suppose, when our party chief and the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Sri Chandrababu Naidu garu, visited and spoke to most of the ministers, including the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, there were certain immediate needs that the state was concerned about, like aid for the development and construction of the capital for the state, aid for the construction and proper listing of the Polavaram irrigation project, and also probably a comprehensive financial support for the backward regions, like something like the Bundelkhand package or things like that. We have put forward, we have in fact asked their cooperation for the Dugirajapatnam port. So there are certain immediate things that we want from the center, because the state has suffered huge losses for the past 5 years. Huge, absolute damage to the image of the state and also to the finances of the state. So definitely at this juncture, we would require a little extra, I would say an immediate relief from the center. But at the same time, we also know that we are also, one amongst the many states in the country, and we know our limitations. We know up to what extent this can be, extended to the state of Andhra Pradesh. And we are looking forward for a consistent and constant, support from the center to the state for the coming 5 years.
Okay.
We are very clear on that.
For the coming 5
it's not like
that's a good point that you are seeking this spread. That's a good point that you are speaking in the term of the government for 5 years. We are discussing how the changed political circumstances are likely to impact the budget that Nirmala Sitharaman will deliver very soon. Guru Prakash, I'm coming to you. Earlier, we saw the BJP have problems with the very same set of allies on various demands. Now there is a changed political reality. This is the first time that you are in the Lok Sabha without a clear majority of your own in that sense. Do you think this is going to be a key consideration when it comes to budget making? Because Mr. Bhattacharya says that the Modi government will continue to do what it has been doing for so many years, while it attempts to balance other concerns as well. And the TDP spokesperson is making a pretty reasonable set of demands.
No, Siddharth, I think I partly agree with what Professor Bhattacharya is arguing here, that more or less it's going to be status quo. The focus on fiscal discipline, the focus on fiscal prudence is certainly going to be there. But we also need to understand a couple of things, that when you speak of a special category status or special central assistance, there are two different things. As far as special category is concerned, I think it's a settled debate. The Gadgil formula that used to be there. I think after the Raghuram Rajan committee in 2013, it was settled that special category status or special category fund, it cannot be operationalized without detailed discussion. But as far as the broader economic policy that you are indicating, and I would also like to add one thing, that it is not for the first time that the Bharatiya Janata Party will experience a coalition government. I was listening to your initial observation when you said coalition dharma, and I am happy that you mentioned coalition dharma. It was the Bharatiya Janata Party, it was former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji who coined the term coalition dharma. Both Nitish Kumar ji and N. Chandrababu Naidu ji, we have worked with them in their previous avatars in the NDA one government in 1999 to 2004. So we have a very comfortable working relationship with them. As far as the broader economic policy is concerned, I think the capex that Professor Bhattacharya mentioned, I was just looking at the data. In financial year 18, it was about 12%. In financial year 23, it was about 23%. But more importantly, when Prime Minister says that we have become the 5th largest economy and we are on the path to become the 3rd largest economy, his focus is on inclusive growth. Now, India has banked almost 51 crore people, which is more than the population of United States. You look at PM Vishwakarma Yojana, you look at the Prime Minister Mudra Yojana that has empowered more than 35 crore people from marginalized section. So how the fruits of growth, how every single Indian, regardless of their gender, regardless of their caste, become a relevant stakeholder in the new India growth story. So, as far as the question of balance is concerned, we have
Guru Prakash, the question that is
we have had a working and a
very
relationship in the past.
Important at this stage is also the fact, Guru Prakash, coming to you, that it's not just your allies who represent two very important states, Andhra Pradesh and Bihar, and both have their historical reasons for seeking a bit extra. It's also to do with opposition-ruled states and their complaints in the past that the central government does not accede to all their demands. You also have a GST whose results we are seeing, and the central government has now stopped the release of that data. The broader point being that are you now in a better mood to listen to all those states who have been seeking different levels of support from the center, Guru Prakash?
Siddharth, I think we have always listened to the people from the state, whether we are in power in that state or not. I think you would very well remember the days of Planning Commission when chief ministers from across the country used to come to Yojana Bhavan and make a case, argue for funds. And you would very well remember the recommendations of the 14th Finance Commission when the devolution increased. It was a massive increase of devolution of central revenues from 32% to 42%. And Prime Minister, when he was a chief minister, he has argued for more fiscal autonomy to state. So regardless of whichever party is in power, when Prime Minister says the new India growth story has to take everyone, has to make everyone a relevant stakeholder, regardless of the party, regardless of the region.
Okay. A.K. Bhattacharya, coming to you. Are the demands of the two states justified? We haven't heard from Bihar on the show, but they also have been for several years, starting from 2012-13, making a demand for of certain kind. Do you think these two states are justified given other states and their economic situation as well?
Well, both the states are now politically very important as far as the current BJP government at the center is concerned. So I would imagine that the demands as far as Andhra Pradesh is concerned, the demand for assistance to build a new capital and resolution of its dispute with Telangana over allocation and distribution of assets that ideally should have been given to Andhra Pradesh from Hyderabad and various issues are very, very valid. So I think, but then at what point and at what the pace of this transfer of resources and assistance is something that has to be decided through bilateral consultation. So Andhra, these demands are genuine. Similarly, Bihar has been seeking a better financial transfer because being at the bottom of the pyramid, it does suffer on account of transfer of resources. And I understand that the 16th Finance Commission will look into these issues. So, and when it submits maybe an interim recommendation or interim paper later in the year, those issues will also be concerned. But my point is that this budget will acknowledge the reality of these two states, which are represented by their coalition partners, but at the same time, the budget will follow a template that has been typified or has been propagated so far by the BJP in the last few years. So whether the special category states' demand for Bihar will be met is a highly debatable issue. It will raise many other issues. So I think the Finance Commission will address many of those Bihar concerns. And remember, when the government in the budget allocates more money for PM Kisan, Bihar has got among the largest number of farmer households, so they will benefit too.
Right.
When the government through the budget increases the minimum wages under the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, remember Bihar and Andhra Pradesh also benefit. Similarly,
they
the
will
housing
benefit
scheme,
as well.
they will benefit. So I think the budget
Absolutely.
will be a composite package for the whole country, but whatever package is announced under
Right.
the budget will also benefit these two coalition partners. So in that sense, you are right, the coalition dharma will be followed duly.
There you have it, viewers. Very clearly, Bihar and Andhra have a special set of demands, and they are specially and well placed to ensure that those demands come through. Will it happen in one go? Perhaps not. But very clearly, as the TDP also indicated, that they are in it for the long run, and it's all going to be spaced out, and none of these demands perhaps are going to break the bank, so to say. We'll wait for what Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has to say on budget day, and until then we'll continue to get you different perspectives on this very important first budget of the third Modi government. Mr. Bhattacharya, Professor Jyotsna and Guru Prakash, thank you very much for your time. With that, it's a wrap. We'll be back with more. Do stay tuned in.